Well, today's game, that's a way to do it. I was playing black, but it's a fun game. It's really competitive game. So my opponent played e4 again. It's 1-0, but it's there's always ideas, right? We talk about the ideas, potential ideas that could happen. So I played c6. It's a caro. So typically I play the caro most of the time along with g6, which is a modern defense. When it comes to bullet chess, typically, c6 is something that I, prefer to do. So he played d5. This is actually the two knights variation. You could takes h6. Sometimes you could play this. I mean, typically knight f6. You could do that. I just want to play something safe. Maybe knight f6 here. If you were to take, maybe that's a potential idea. He played knight g3, e6. So now I'm looking at here, potential here, queen c7. He played d4, and then I played c5, which is kind of interesting. So here, I think the best way to play typically is c3. You don't want to like go for that one and take with the knight. You could still play that way, but especially when it comes to bullet chess, you want to play solid, especially in this line. But he played bishop e3, which is kind of interesting in a way. I did take the pawn. I think in this line, black is okay. Typically, after here, you do have to, knight e5 could be played, but you could always have knight c6. So this is like a tempo move that you could do. You always play this kind of tempo ideas. Remember, you develop a piece, creating a tempo for yourself. It's always a good thing. So we had, I played knight c6, forcing him to go back with the queen, knight f6. And then bishop b5. Again, this is bold game, so things are happening really fast. So queen c7. We talked about like how I could play queen c7. This is actually playable here. There's maybe ideas here, perhaps, that I could just play here. The knight is defending d7, so there's no like ideas, for mating ideas yet. So potentially, this is okay. Supposedly here, I attack the bishop on b5. So he took it. This one is kind of interesting in a way. I don't know if I like this take. Here's the situation. He's dealing with two bishops, and obviously I did not really castle yet, but I do have the potential to like attack his, potentially here, this side of the board. And having the two bishops here makes, very, it should be good for black. He played here with tempo, so now I could still play like queen b6. And he played bishop here. Again, I don't know if he's going for a draw, but I was not really interested in draws. This kind of game, you're potentially going for good stuff, perhaps. So he played here. I don't like the move because I could play here. And this is actually a tempo, because now I'm looking at queen takes c2, and there's always a lot of concerns. Knight d5 is coming in. There's maybe rook c8, potentially b5, depending on how, white react. So he played here, and I just basically, the bishop was not developed for a long time. You want it to, continue developing. So I played bishop e7, and he played here. But then I told myself, why should I trade queens? Trading queens would only help white, and this move doesn't feel like it makes a lot of sense, to be honest. The reason this move doesn't make a lot of sense at the beginning of trouble is because you do gain a tempo by like here, right? And this is a huge tempo, because you move a piece attacking the queen. So if he plays, let's say, queen d2, he lost a turn. You don't want to lose a turn, especially in a game like that. So he ended up playing here instead of like going back to d2, but he's just making things a lot worse. Maybe here, I don't know what he would do. I just feel like queen d3 is a mistake. There's maybe knight d4. He might be concerned about rook d8. His position is not that great here. I mean, obviously, this is lining up like this. Even it's a problem. This rook c8. This black has ideas to do in this kind of situation. A lot of ideas that he could do. So I played here. He played here, but this move doesn't really help because the next move is additional tempo. And you just notice that black is gaining momentum each turn. I call these moves are pretty strong. I mean, black has so many options. Maybe here, maybe castle, maybe rook c8. But you want to always look for tempos, like a move forcing him to defend, then you continue attacking. And that's kind of the idea here. You may argue that, well, you move your bishop like twice, but that's okay because we are actually attacking. And he has to be really careful where he's going because we attacked the queen. So you can notice that he moved the queen like a couple times, from here to here to here, and black is gaining momentum here. So I played after here. I played here. Takes. It's a free pawn. It's a free pawn. He could not really defend it properly, and that's one of the problems when he plays here is bishop c4. You could see the bishops are very annoying, right? These are, he may like to play here, but there's a bishop. I mean, you could even, if there was no bishop, maybe you could even double your pawns just so you could trade queens. But you're not really getting it today, or not today, and not next year. So he played here. I took the pawn, and he played king c1. So the biggest concern here for white is king safety, right? And the problem is he cannot really save anything. He could try, and then I played knight d5. He could try to defend, but nothing really going to help. That's another tempo. You're basically saying, well, if you think you are done with bishop c4, and you're not done yet, let's bring the knight. So that the knight gets into closing into the king. So I'm actually giving up that pawn, right? He could have took the pawn. It's okay. I was sacking it. The problem with this pawn is not really good. Not a good grab because I play bishop f6 and I attack the queen because the bishop is protected by the knight on d5. So I attack the queen and then attack here. So he knew this is actually trouble. So he played here. But that doesn't really help because of the next move. So I was basically developing a piece. I mean, it was on e7, so I still develop here, or I move here. But this move does have a lot of issues for white. Now I'm actually threatening mate because queen e1 is actually mate. So all of my moves are tempo after tempo. He doesn't have a break, right? You always want to be on top of things if you're given the chance, right? I mean, so that's one idea here is basically telling him you cannot really escape that one, right? He's basically saying, no, I can still play c3. I could play c3 and now I could defend. Now, could you pause the video and find a good move here? Pause the video. This is how you should be playing the game, right? And find a way to continue attacking. I mean, this is always going to be based on an attack. I mean, nothing else. If he plays c3, his idea is defending, like he's attacking this one, and he might be looking at queen takes g7, maybe next. Maybe he could turn the table and try to, find a way to attack back, right? If you pause the video, you found the move. That's very good, though, because this is going to help you in a lot of your games. If you did not, again, as always, you want to do more puzzles. So the move here, sack. And that's actually, again, it's additional trouble because if he were to take here, right? If he were to take here, this is checkmate, right? The queen is covering everything. So obviously here, he cannot really take back, which makes c3 a bad move. But again, all my pieces are. All of my pieces are working together except the rooks, but you may not need the rooks, right? You're dealing with 3 pieces now, queen, even more, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and they're all working together, right? Just against this king. So he played here. Now he's thinking that maybe I could create something, He's really attacking the rook. But that doesn't really do anything for him. As a matter of fact, that doesn't save anything. Pause the video. Could you force a sequence to win the game? Could you find a way to force a sequence? When I took on c3, I saw it. I was preparing it. The combination was around here, so when I took, I see it. I was able to see what's going on next. So if you pause the video, you found the solution, that's great, because this is actually, you need some precision. That's how you play tactics. With precision, you win the game. I mean, you may, if you play one slight mistake here, maybe white is making a comeback, right? So here is this kind of situation, you're looking for the final touch. Think about it, this George Foreman kind of punch, right? George Foreman punch. And here you're looking up for the final punch, right? So here you want to be crucial was your attack, so you don't really defend. So sometimes when I give this position to, like, if I were to give this position to some of my students or in general to anybody, you might be reacting to, like, oh, my rook is under attack, so maybe I have to play like rook f8 or something. So I react to this move. But you want to scan the board, meaning that you don't want to react to your opponent's ideas. You're also reacting to your own ideas as well. So is this queen takes really makes sense in general? If you look over your board and you want to scan the board, you're looking at what's happening here, because this seems to be the most important thing, right? The king is under attack. This may not be relevant to, you don't really have to defend. If you pause the video and you found the combination, that's great. And that's actually how you should be playing the game. And you need to have some precision in order to win games like this, right? So the idea is, I'm assuming you found it, is actually you want to force it. This is a force sequence. You play queen b1 because the knight is sitting on c3. When I was talking about, like, the knight is sitting here, I was able to see this, right? I knew he cannot take because there's a mate. So he played here, I check. The only way he could move, he cannot move here because the queen is in the same diagonal. So he plays king d2. But could you find the last move? If you found it, that's great. You want to always look for discovery checks, right? Discovery, but you want to look for the one that makes more sense. Discovery in a certain way that he cannot really escape. So if you found this next move, perfect, right? You found the entire combination, I'm assuming, right? So this is checkmate. And obviously, the reason it's checkmate is because the bishop is covering this diagonal. This is actually the importance of bishops. The bishops really have good diagonals, right? And that's one of the reasons why we say bishops are pretty strong, because they have the diagonals. And this situation, you look, they are covering this diagonal that, he cannot move here. He cannot, move here because of the queen. And this checkmate, this double check. It's checkmate because obviously that's checking the king, and this is also checking the king, so there's no way you could block, right? So knight e4 with checkmate. It's a nice combination, and I was able to see it. I was working for it, right? And that's how you play the game, is sometimes we have this kind of precision attack, and you're able to apply it even in bullet game. Like this kind of game, it was kind of a force sequence. Whether I play rapid game or a bullet game, this attack would have been the same sequence, right? When I started playing here, I played here. This almost feels like, this is the same moves I would be playing in a classical format, whether it's game in 2 hours or, game in 1 minute, right? So this kind of ideas work if you're working on your tactics. This is like a pattern, some kind of ideas that you go after the king. Typically, if you have 2 pieces against a lone king, you always find a way to attack. If you have 4, it's overwhelming. So we just have 4 against N, and that's the reason why it's just too much. And one of the pawns that is being taken, there's only b2 left, so the king doesn't have any pieces around to defend. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and Happy New Year. We are marching into 2026, and stay tuned for more videos, and hopefully you guys like the content. We'll see you by the next one. Thank you.